Hi everybody, it's me again, Charles Norman, Sports Solutions LLC. We are the creators of AthleticSOS. It is a software. If your child is trying to get an athletic scholarship, you want to use AthleticSOS. I'll talk more about that later. But this one is for the, I'm going to talk about the Point Guard College basketball camp. I know it's January. I hope you guys are having a great 2026. It's the first one I've done this year. But I wanted to get this one out because they open for registration on January 26th, so I'm going to do this one on the 25th. Everybody always asks me, because my software, our AthleticSOS software is used by basketball camps across the country, hundreds of them, all use it to help their kids find the perfect school for themselves. So why do I only do this for Point Guard College? And the reason I always tell everyone is, this is the camp that I sent my daughter to. And so it's the only one that I can actually vouch for. I mean, she went with her travel club program. She did some training. She did a lot of different things. But this is the first like overnight camp. She went for a week. They have a day only camp, but the overnight camp is the one she went to. So I want to tell you what I found from that and why I always recommend it. And it's interesting because they don't really have an affiliate program. I don't make any money off of it. I will say last year they gave me a call. For some reason, you guys listen to me on this thing and you guys sign up for the camp, especially probably because you guys were on the fence about it. But they sent me a t-shirt and some shorts and a sweatshirt. So real cool, but you know, it's not like I'm going to retire on it. So why do I pick this camp? So let me give you a little background. So when my daughter, when I sent her to this was back oh man, it's got to be 2008, 2009. It was a long time ago. And I sent her to that because during that time, I keep telling you guys, there was this financial crisis, right, in the United States. And so my job, I worked for the government and they put us on furlough, which meant I kept working, but I had 4 days a month where I wasn't working. And believe it or not, those 4 days made a huge, huge difference in my paycheck. And so so things were kind of tight. But my daughter had just come out of her sophomore year and was going to the summer for her, and to go into the junior year. And she had a great freshman year, even better sophomore year, but everyone's telling me she might be able to play at the collegiate level. And so I go, okay, I don't know exactly how we go about this, but everyone says she needs to play on a travel club program. And so I went and looked at the best travel club programs, had her try out. She made some of the teams, but she always made the team right below the top team. And so I'm looking at it, and it was really expensive back then. And I said, oh, I don't know if we can do this, especially if she's not going to be on a top team, because I come from an engineering background, technical background. And so I would tell the people, I said, well, it doesn't make sense. If she's on the second team, why would the college coaches come watch the girls on the second team when there's girls on the first team? And they said, well, they're younger and they know they're going to be looking for years down the road. And I said, wow, it's a lot of money to do that. And maybe it was the right thing to do, maybe it isn't. But I just couldn't get it across. So I put her on more of a local team. They were going to stay in California. They were going to do the Oregon Trail. And they were going to do a couple of things up north and down in San Diego. That seemed good enough. She's in her sophomore year, right? So I'm not thinking, and this is why I always say, we don't know what we don't know, but to me, it made sense. Her next year, I would put the money, I would fork the money out, right? She's coming up her junior year, going into her senior year. Anyway, the other thing I did was I said, okay, she needs to get better. She's starting to play point guard, and she's good at point guard, but she's using her athleticism to play point guard. She's not, she understands the game. She's a step ahead of everybody else thinking, especially on defense. She can almost force you into mistakes and take advantage of them. So she had that, and she was a pretty good point guard, right? She could drive to the basket. She could shoot the little shots. She makes great passes. She's always looking to feed. She's pretty good at it. But there's no, I don't know what's the best word to say for it. It wasn't crisp to me. It was just that she was just doing what she was doing because she was physically better than the other players. And so I said, well, maybe I'll send her to this Point Guard College. It's the perfect name, right? She's playing point guard. This just made sense to me. I said, I'm going to send her there, let her play on this local team, and then I think we can make that work. And so that's what I ended up doing. So she went to the Point Guard College, and it's funny because back then it was like, I think it was like $695. So it's kind of expensive for this camp. And remember, this is back a while ago. So now I think it's like $1,300 now. So that's why I wanted to make these videos on behalf of it, because really it comes down to not if it's a good camp, not if you should send your kid to that camp, or if it's worth the $1,300. What I'm trying to make you guys determine for yourselves is this the right camp for my kid? Because there's tons of camps. There's league camps, there's NBA players have camps, college coaches have camps, and the colleges themselves have camps. So you could go to any of those. And I'm not saying any of them are wrong, but I wanted to explain why and what happened when I sent my daughter to this camp. So I sent her to the point guard camp, and then she comes, and I went to go pick her up from the camp, right? It's 5 days, it's overnight. I went to pick her up on the 5th day, and this is a lot of money for me at the time. And I said, well, how was the camp? What did you think about it? She goes, oh, it's good. And I said, okay. I said, well, what did you learn? And she goes, oh, we learned about different things and how to think about this and do that. She goes, and we had to be in classrooms. And I go, oh, wow, this is a really cool camp. You know, it wasn't just skill development. I said, did they work on your ball handling? She goes, yeah. I said, did they work on your defense? Yeah. I mean, she's not giving me anything. So I'm like, oh, man, did I just waste money on this thing? And I'm not quite sure what I got. But when she came out of that camp, our next thing was she was going to go play with her high school team. She had been doing her travel stuff up until the camp time. She did the camp, and now we're going to go play with her high school team because now she's going to be the leader of the team. Remember, she started as a freshman, but there were older girls on the team. And then as a sophomore, she sort of took over a little bit more. But most of the girls she started her freshman year had graduated out, and new kids were coming in behind her. And then she had a couple of kids that were on the team with her that were in her, that were juniors and seniors, as she was going into her junior year. We went out to, I remember, because we went out to an area not too far from where we live for the first tournament that they were in. The game started, but even when my daughter walked out on the court, I go, wow, you know, just the way she's moving, there was sort of an assurance about her. But when the game started, the other team had got the ball and they threw the ball away. And then one of her teammates gets the ball from out of bounds from the ref and throws it into my daughter. And I watched my daughter start dribbling up the court, and I saw it immediately. There was a difference. I don't even know how to explain. I was going to say that, you know, she looked more assured about what she was doing, whatever. But the word that I think makes the most sense to me is she had poise. She was moving down the court and she had no fear. Nothing's even happening down there. The girls are getting set up for the play they're going to run or whatever they're going to do. And just the way she was coming with the court. And here's the other thing that was important about that was that I could see the other players on the other side could see it too. You could see the girls backing up. First, they were coming up pretty close, and then they started backing off because you could feel that when she was coming down the court. And my daughter was very quick. She could move really good, so she could probably blow past you, but they didn't have a reputation. These girls had never met my daughter before, but I could see them kind of move back and come off of her a little bit. And as she crossed half court, and for the rest of that game, as she played, she took over that game. And maybe, you know, some of the girls that play from the other high schools, because it's summer, they were still playing on travel club or doing something else, the better girls, I would say. I'm not 100% sure about that, but my daughter dominated that tournament. I mean, she just was everywhere. But her confidence, the way she moved, just the way she came back to the huddle, the way she looked at the coach when the coach was coaching. I don't know what they did at this camp because I wasn't there, but I saw the difference. And that's the reason I will come and do these videos year after year after year, because if you have that type of player, my daughter is a very cerebral player when she played. She saw the game. She was always a couple of steps ahead. And I think this was the right camp for her. And yes, she did some shooting camps and some ball handling camps and some other camps that she did, you know, during the year, trainings, I would say, more than camps. But this is the first time I saw just a different player. And through the years, I've recommended this camp to other people. It went from the $6.95 I paid to $8.95 and $9.95. And so some parents would do it, and some people thought, no, they're doing good enough. And boys and girls, it didn't matter. And I used to tell everybody, I don't think it matters what position your kid plays. So they changed the name to PGC College, which is still point guard college to me. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Whatever your kid plays, I think this will make them see the difference, but you got to know, is your kid that type of kid? If your kid's just running and jumping over everybody and dunking on everybody, and that's who they are and that's what they do, that's fine too. I'm not judging anything. All I'm saying is you will see the difference in your kid when they play, their confidence level, the way they move, the way they understand the game, the way they approach the game, all of those things. Those are the things that I noticed right away. And here's the story. I never even tell this part of the story. So the following year, we're going out to visit schools now, right? We've got some schools now interested in my daughter, and we're going out to do our visits. We get 5 visits. And so one of the visits we did was the school that she ended up going to. And so when I went there, and my daughters, as soon as we got there, they kind of separated. My daughter went off with the girls. They're going to go do something. I don't know what they went to go do. And then we're walking around with the coach. They're showing us the facilities and things like that. And I'm not even thinking we're going to go to the school because it's all the way on the other side of the country. And I wanted her to stay close to home because I'm dad. I want to go to the games. I want to sit in the thing. She's going to be doing well. I'm proud dad. I'm going to sit there like, oh, no big deal. Whatever it is, right? Just like every other parent in the world. Very proud of your child and want to see them do well. And so that coach told me, the head coach is telling me, he said, you know, I really am almost fighting against having your daughter come here. She's not my choice, but my assistant coach is like in love with her and says it will change our program around. And he says, but I have the other kids around. He said, but I'm going to tell you, I didn't want to go across the country. She had been back there a couple of times. So I sent one of my favorite scouts, the guy that I trust the most. I said, hey, go take a look at this kid and see what you think. Because, my assistant coach thinks my recruiting coach thinks is the best thing since sliced bread. And so he said that he called me back that night and he said, if you don't get her, you will regret it forever. He says he never said anything like that before, but that was the place. Because I asked him, I go, well, what did he go to? Do you remember what it was? He goes, she was playing for a high school team, and he said he had never seen anybody just sort of control the game. And so I wanted to throw that in because I never throw that part in because it's weird for a head coach to tell you that, right? They're trying to recruit you. But I knew that recruiting coach, because we started to see her everywhere we went. When my daughter went we put on a bigger travel club program, her going from her junior year to her senior year, we put on a bigger, and so we went all the way across the country. We went to Oregon, Chicago, North Carolina. We went to all these different places. So it was cool. But I just like to throw that in because when she came back, now that doesn't mean he wouldn't have saw that she was a good player anyway. I don't know. I can't anticipate what would have happened that when things just went the way that they went. But I like to throw that part in because that was an interesting conversation to me. So I don't know if that happens for everybody. I think last year, my younger brother sent his oldest son to the camp, and he's going to send another one of his sons. Now, I haven't seen, because they're in another state, I haven't seen my nephew play that much. I mean, I get some film of him, but I don't know what he played like before, so I can't see if that difference was there. But I do know that he's going into his junior year this year, and so he's changed, and it's in a bunch of ways. So he's made a bunch of all-star games. He was on varsity his freshman year. He didn't play much, but this was his sophomore year, and then he's going into his junior year coming up. So I can't say that it's going to make all the difference in the world. I'm just telling you as a dad who put his daughter into it, not his son, but his daughter into it, what I saw coming out of that. So, couple of things. If you're going to go to PGC Basketball, I'm just going to say this, and they probably won't like it, but I would not. They have one called the Playmaker. They have another one called Scoring, and then they have one called Point Guard College. And then they have a couple other ones for like 4th to 7th graders. So the way they've set it up now is it's supposed to be a progression. You go to the Playmakers first. It's Playmakers Prep or something like that. I don't know what it's called. But anyway, it's the first one. It's supposed to lead you into the scoring one. And then when you're ready, you go to the Point Guard College, right? The 3 of them are in a row. I don't know if it's to get you to do all 3 camps, but this is the way they're presenting now. Only one that I can vouch for, absolutely, positively, without a doubt, is Point Guard College. So if you can find that one and your kid is already a really good player, I would recommend that one. That's the only one I can recommend. I'm not saying the other ones aren't good, but I think they incorporate a lot of their stuff just where they emphasize. I think each of the camps is going to incorporate a lot of the same things, but I think the Point Guard College is the thinking the game. They used to have one called Thinking the Game. That's the one I sent my daughter to. It was, and so that is what you're really looking for if your kid is already talented. Thinking the game, understanding the game, how you want to participate in the game. Now, the other ones, if your kid is, I would think if your kid's playing frost soft, maybe junior varsity, your thought process may be a little bit different. You may be going, you know what, I need to get their skill value up. Then maybe the Playmaker and the shooting and the scoring camps make more sense so they can get to where they need to get to, set up players up, things like that. I think that's great too. And so if you could do each one year, starting freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, great, more power to you. But I'm just telling you what we did. And then when she got to the college, she was mentioning this camp, and so her coach got money and sent 3 of the other girls to the college. They had a college prep version of it, point guard college. So it wasn't for the high school kids. It was for the kids that were already in college. And so he sent them to those. And they had great years. They won the conference a couple of years in a row, which gets you to the NCAA tournament, which is cool. They, you know, they were like 13th seed, so they got, you know, beat. They never made it past the first round. But those adventures, putting those banners up in their gym and things like that is a big deal for a school. So you don't get to always win everything, but what you want to do is put your kid in the best position possible. I probably ran too long with this. So yes, I recommend you go to PGC Basketball. Take a look at all the things that they're going to offer. If you look down below, once you go in and you decide which camp you want to go to, if you type in AthleticSOS, and I'll put it down in the description, I think they have a place where if you have a code, put that in, it should give you a discount. And then also, I think they have $100 off just in general, if you want to do that. So take a look at it. And then also, there is a book. The guy that created Point Guard College, his name was Dick DeVinzio. He was a coach. He has a book. It's on Amazon. I'll put a link down to that too. I think I do have a business account on Amazon. I'll put that down too. Maybe I'll make 50 cents off of it. But I'll put that down too. It's called Stuff Good Players Should Know. He wrote that book. He created this camp. The person who's there now is Mano Watson. He's a great guy. I met him about 6-7 years ago. Just a fantastic person. When my daughter went, it was Dick DeVinzio and a lady named Evans. Dina Evans, I think was her name. So that was who was in charge of the camp back then. And terrific. It was just a terrific camp for my daughter. It turned out really good. So I'll do two things for you. I'll write the word AthleticSOS so you get it right, so you can put it in that code. I think that'll give you an additional discount. And I think they have on the 26th, which is tomorrow, they're going to give you $100 off anyway. And then maybe there's an additional discount. I have no idea, but put it in anyway. And then I'll put the link down to that book. Get that book. Even if you can't go to the camp, even if you decide, you know, that's not really for us, get the book, give it to your kid. If they read that book, they will change their game also. I really believe. And that will make a big difference too. Now, I think that's it. I don't think I want to go overboard with it. I'm not telling you have to go there or it's the difference maker and these other camps aren't any good or anything like that. I'm just giving you my experience with my daughter. This is almost, you know, it's quite a while ago, maybe 13 years ago, so it's really hard to do it. But I did know my nephew went last year, and he had a great year this year for his high school team, so I know that works. And then interspersed through there, there's a bunch of kids from our neighborhood that ended up sending their kids there on our recommendation, on my recommendation. So I have nothing but great things to say about how they approach it. I think it's a different approach. I know a bunch of other coaches that use, and I talk with them all the time. They care about the kids. They're great at training. They understand, and they work on their academics, and they do just a lot of great camps around. But this one is a little bit different to me. And I'm not saying anybody else doesn't do it the way that they do it, but they have their own way of doing it, and I think it's just a great way to do it. So it's a thinking for Point Guard College. That's the only one I'm recommending. I think thinking the game through as you approach it gives your kid more confidence. And like I said, my daughter, the word I always use, that first day I saw her back after she came from that camp, it was poise. Her ability to have poise on the court. I think that's really important. All right, guys, that's it for me for this one. Subscribe to the channel. I got a lot of cool stuff going on. Now, you guys that have been following me before, you know I used to always give you a code to access AthleticSOS at no cost. I am not allowed to do that in 2026. So I'm going to try to figure out some other things that I could do for you. But we're going to talk through. I've made all these partnerships. That's why this is the first one I've done in 2026. I've got all these partnerships now, and I've been traveling the country, getting everything set up or how we're going to work with the software. But I've got some other stuff inside the software I want to talk to you guys about. Remember, this is for the AthleticSOS is really for maybe 8th grade through the 12th grade for the kids that think they're going to try to get athletic scholarships. You want to find all the schools you qualify for. But now I'm starting to go back to 5-year-olds all the way up to 17-year-olds. We want to cover that whole gamut. Here's our goal. When your kid at 17 years old, they're done playing, they're leaving high school, can they look back on that whole time that they sacrificed playing sports at a very high level, traveling, practicing, training, going to games. They're really sacrificing part of their childhood to participate at this level. If they can look back on that, even if they don't play at the collegiate level, if they can look back and go, that was worth it, then I win. That's what I want to win. That's what we want to win as parents and coaches, and even for your child. If you win that game, then youth sports is a place to be. And I'm going to tell you the things that I think you need to do to make sure at that point in time you go, yes, it was worth it. All right, guys, best of luck to you in all your endeavors, and we'll talk to you next week.